Hey everybody, Brian Bauman from Bauman Farms, and there are tons of planting going on in the nursery, but I wanted to take a minute to kind of walk you through some of the houseplants that are coming into the farm right now, because every time we bring in a houseplant, we inspect it thoroughly for pests. And there's a few things that I'm looking for that you can use at home to help you inspect yours and identify some of the most problematic pests that can cause a whole lot of problems. And the sooner you catch it, the better. And the first thing that I want you to say is that the better healthy your plants are, the less pests you're going to deal with. The moment that your plants start to get maybe a little too dry, you get a lot of dead foliage on there, things start to get stressed, it's like a beacon for pests to come in and cause problems. It is always good this time of the year to start using a really good fertilizer. We use this from Espoma. This is Grow. It is easy to use. It doesn't have any like funky smells or anything. It's completely organic, so it's safe to use in your home. It's strong enough to really meet the needs of your plants. And this one is a 2-2-2. It's not a super strong dose. I would use this every other week. When you're watering, just put a little bit follow the instructions on the bottle. It'll keep your plants healthy, which prevents the bugs from ever really getting established on your plants. So that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen all the time. We get into problems. So, this beauty. Oftentimes when you're looking at your plants, you think, things are looking pretty good. She's happy, she's doing good. But as you get closer, you see signs of one of the most common pests. You'll see these little white speckles on the leaves, and those are actually dead aphids. And where there are dead aphids, you're going to find live aphids. And so as soon as I see those, I'm going to start looking in a little bit closer and looking, and sure enough, I'm seeing a lot more of those brown skeletons in there. Aphids always tend to go for new growth. That's where they're able to suck the most juice out of the plant. So I'll come down here and I'll start looking at some of these new flower buds. I can see some more of those white dead skeletons. And if I get in here, we have a lot of new flowers coming. I bet you we can start to see some little green ones, like this one right on the tip of the blossom right there. That is a green aphid. They're almost impossible to see. You really have to start looking. So a lot of times by seeing the white dead skeletons, that's going to be your sign to find aphids. Now aphids are fairly easy to get rid of, which is nice. I like to use insecticidal soap. You want to completely smother this plant in that soap. I let it sit for a little bit, and then I really wash it down, because those aphids are all the way up underneath, and that soap is going to make it slippery and they're going to fall off. It does even kind of kill them, but more than anything, it's getting them off of the plant. But here's one of the important things to remember about dealing with pests. They have a life cycle just like us, but their life cycle is a little different in that they're going to lay eggs. So there are eggs already on this. The soap is unlikely to get rid of all the eggs. So we're going to do that, get rid of the adults. In a couple days, those eggs are going to hatch, and it's going to be time to get in here, do it again, and get rid of those ones before they have a chance to lay eggs. You're going to want to do that 2 to 3 times. Be pretty diligent, because if you're not doing that, you're just asking for them to come back again. Aphids are pretty easy to get rid of, but they're annoying, they're a pest, and they can cause problems. This succulent has probably what I would consider the grossest bug that you can get on a plant, and it is these mealybugs. And oftentimes with mealybugs, it looks like little white balls of cotton that are kind of stuck, and this one even has it up front. But always with mealybugs, where I find them is down right at the base of the plant, and you can see all that white cotton down there. That is from the bugs. The other thing that you'll see sometimes down in here, you can see some webbing in here, and that's important because I want you to know that is not spider mites. That is just a spider. In a minute, I'm going to show you some signs to look for spider mites, but mealybugs get down in there, they move, They're typically down at the base. I see them a lot more on succulents than I do on houseplants, but they can definitely go to houseplants. They're gross. They're disgusting. I hate them. You can use an insecticidal soap on these. I find horticultural oil works a little better in preventing and keeping them. You can use a neem oil, just a generic horticultural oil. That's going to, again, smother the adults and get them killed, and then I rinse them off afterwards. You want to apply that same kind of consistency. Do it a couple different times to get rid of them. They are a pain because they are way down in the base. So you want to get it all the way down in there, top, bottom, all around, because again, like looking at the top here, like this doesn't look that bad. But as soon as I pull it up underneath, that's when I can start to see the little white bugs in there. Problem, children, gross, disgusting, washing my hands as soon as I'm done. Okay, aphids, mealybugs. The next big category that I find the most in our houseplants that we're watching for are mites. There are lots of different types of mites. There are two types of mites that I find a lot that we're keeping an eye out for. The first one is a broad mite. And broad mites, my dad says he can see them. I can tell you, my dad's eyesight is not that good. My eyesight is way better. I can't see them. They are very, very, very tiny. You are very unlikely to see them on the plant, but what you're going to see is the result of all the damage that they cause. You'll notice on this beautiful houseplant here that all the leaves seem to be kind of contorted as they're coming up. You'll see it on all the new leaves starting to emerge. I can see it over here. This to me is classic damage from a broad mite. I see this a lot on fuchsias right now. It can get onto a number of different plants. You will always see it on the new growth. You will not see any bugs. I've even seen, I was looking for spider mites or other problems. I don't see any indication of anything else, which again tells me that it's probably broad mites that are in here. In dealing with broad mites, I like to get rid of any of this leaf will never come out of this. It's never going to look great. They've been munching on it for quite a while. It's kind of crispy. It won't unfold. You need to cut this off. Get rid of it. I'd get in here, get rid of some of that. I'd remove any of this damaged old foliage. It's all problem. It's all breeding ground for bugs. So we're going to get rid of that. Then I would use some horticultural oil. Smother it in here really good. Neem oil, horticultural oil, either of those would work good, and that will help get rid of it. You'll need to apply it multiple times to get rid of broad mites. I always get rid of the damage on the foliage for that too. Colocaceous, alocaceous, anything with giant leaves like this are calling for spider mites. Spider mites are the most misdiagnosed problem in houseplants. You can easily have webbing from regular everyday spiders. Spiders are one of Jessica's favorite things in the whole world. I'm laughing because I oftentimes have to go into her office and get rid of the spiders. She can't handle them. She's literally cringing. But if you have a really bad spider mite infestation, luckily I couldn't find anything on any new plants coming in or anything we had here to show you. Jessica, we may just throw up a picture of what a really bad infestation looks like, and that's when you're actually going to see the webbing. But for example, this colocacia right here looks pretty good. These new leaves have a little bit of nutritional damage around the outside, but they look pretty good, look nice. But it's really when you start to look down underneath and go in that you'll start to see some problems. So on this leaf right here, you can see white speckling around the edge, and you can see some white speckling right in the center around the edge. This is a classic sign that we have a spider mite problem. You will typically see them first on the underside of the leaves. You see a lot of white speckling, and you can see the start of webbing starting to emerge. When you grab some of these older leaves now, like here, Jessica, this new leaf, this is what it should look like. I don't see any white spotting. This looks really nice and clean, but when you compare it against this leaf here, you can see the difference as there's white dots appearing throughout the veining of the leaf. That is a good sign that spider mites are present. Again, they're super tiny. You typically don't see them You can start to see a little bit of webbing starting to form, but it's not a lot of webbing. This one has quite a few spider mites in it already. The first step that I would do to get rid of these spider mites, I'd get rid of all of these old leaves. All of these have spider mites on them. Any one that I can see that has any of that white dotting coming on, I'm going to get rid of all of these leaves. Then we're going to apply a horticultural oil to the back, to the front, up and down the stalk, and we're going to do that a couple different times to make sure that we get it out of here. Typically in all of your alocasias and colocasias, anytime the leaves are getting too old, they're starting to get brown around the edges, it's time to get rid of them because that is an easy place for spider mites to pick up. It is so much fun having all the new houseplants coming in, but it is always a good idea to inspect all of your houseplants from top to bottom to make sure there are no pests there. If you ever have any questions about if a pest is there or not, you can always tag us in any social media. We're always keeping an eye. We're happy to help you give our opinion and a solution to help you do it. Leave a comment in the video. We'd be happy to take a look and see what we can do to help you and give you maybe point you in the right direction of what we think it might be. You can always bring a leaf or a sample by. We'll take a look as well. But you're going to want to follow along because these houseplants, so many more things are coming. Jessica and me are going to take a look throughout the nursery to see some of the cool things that we're working on right now. Welcome to the production shed. We are out here busy planting up thousands of hanging baskets right now. And today we're working on one of my favorite ones, most unique hanging baskets that we have. These are UFO, unique flowering object hanging baskets. And you can see they kind of look like flying saucers. But there's a couple tricks when planting these. The first is I like to use solid geraniums with these. I only put geraniums in here. I like to kind of make this big giant ball of geraniums. And the variety that I like to use is called calliope. Calliope geraniums are a cross between a zonal kind of upright and an ivy trailing geranium. So I can get that kind of big ball, but they're not just gonna go straight out. They're gonna kind of form a mound around the outsides and over the top. There is 5 plants around the outside, and we're going to put 1 in the center to kind of keep it all nice and full. The geraniums come in just like some of the other ones that we've looked at before, but a lot of times you can see when these come in, these are liners or plugs. If I can easily get one of these puppies out of here. Come here, little guy. You can see the little roots coming out the bottom, which is good. The substrate that we use here is more of kind of like a sponge because it really holds a lot of moisture down around them. Any of these yellowing leaves we want to remove. And the other trick is you can see the little buds starting to come here on the top. We're going to take that off too. I want the plant to focus on getting foliage on the outside and then not worrying about blooming right now. So we have one of these here. And you can kind of see, I don't like to fill this too full and then just shove this in here. What I like to do is kind of open this up, get this set right where I want it, and kind of fill the soil in around the outside. I don't want to press this down too much because it compacts the soil around there. Water doesn't move freely. It's not going to do as well. And I am just going to work my way around the outside here. Okay, I got my geraniums all around the outside. We're going to, before I forget, put this little cap in the center here. And what this allows to help the soil from not falling down and out through the holes. So we put our cap in the top, fill this up a little bit more here. We'll get one last liner right in the top, taking off those yellow leaves. Whenever you are planting a geranium basket, specifically one like this, a lot of times you can go with ones like you could do different colors, but I really like to stay within the same series. So for example, even within the Calliope series of geraniums, there's Calliope large, there's Calliope medium, and I think they even have a small one. I'm using Calliope mediums in this. All the ones in that series are still pretty true to size. They've kind of graded them so that One's not going to get really big and one's going to stay pretty small. I could use different colors within this and have different color geraniums, which I think would be beautiful, but you always want to stay kind of within that series. I've also seen people use these for New Guinea impatiens, something that's going to be kind of bushy and full and not just come and trail down the side, because I just don't think that's going to give you the look you want with these hanging baskets. We do have some extras of these available. You can always come out in the springtime, but you want to get kind of smaller liners or something to start with to use in these, because if you get a true 4-inch plant, it's just going to be too big. Geraniums are going in now. This is week 2 on the farm. We have some solid geranium baskets I'm working on with some new combos and colors I'd love to show you guys next week. There is so many plants arriving. It's going to be absolutely crazy, so stay tuned. Like, follow along, ask any questions that you have in the comments. I'm happy to help share the knowledge and make sure all of us are getting ready for springtime.